All right, folks, we're back. Welcome to the Giant Insider Podcast, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook on the Believe Network. My name's Jerry Foley. I'm the senior editor of the Giant Insider newspaper. And with me, as always, is the beat writer of the Heart of Giants Nation. Nobody beats the biz. Chris Bizignano. Well, Chris, the Giants have a daunting task this week in Detroit. The FanDuel spread is 10.5. We'll get to that later. But, Detroit coming off of a very hard fought loss this past week. And of course, they get the Giants at home. This should be
get right
game, as we've said almost every week for the opponents. However, Jaxson Dart could be returning. So look, we've talked about it all year long that is the reason for most Giant fans are watching. If Jaxson Dart returns, that it just changes the feel of this game a little bit. But he's going through the concussion protocol now. And what is it, Chris? Does he get cleared later today if he's good? Okay.
Oh, it looks like he's going to practice again today. Then he has to see an independent neurologist.
Yep.
And if he clears that, he'll be good to go. So I expect going tomorrow at the facility to say he might have to wait till after Friday's practice yet. I'm not quite sure on that to see the neurologist, but all signs indicate that Dart will be playing Sunday. And he will be playing. If he's cleared, he's playing.
Okay.
Kafka was asked that yesterday, and Mike kind of looked a little like surprised I was even asked that. He goes, "No, he's going to play if he's cleared." So
yeah,
he is going to play.
I admit I'm one of those guys that would rather put him in a little bit of bubble wrap, but you made me feel better about it last week, so I'm on board. It's okay.
Yeah, well, our opinion doesn't matter, right? Me and you, no matter what.
No, but I'm just saying you made me feel a little better about it. So there you go. There's that.
So, you know what, Jerry? Speaking of that, because what Jerry's talking about, if anybody hasn't watched the last podcast, and I don't know why you haven't watched the last podcast, but if you haven't watched the last podcast, I was saying, hey, Jerry, if our offensive line was horrific, then I would kind of get what you're saying about, hey, listen, Dart's going to get killed this week and all that. But Jerry, man, if sitting here in week 12, and if I told you back in August, Jerry, that, hey, the offensive line is the least of the problems of this team, what would you say to that? You'd be like, well, Chris, I guess we're 5-6.
5-6, 6-5 even.
6-5, we're right there, right? I'm sure we got some wins. I'm sure we're talking about maybe, interesting season. But here we are, right? Here we are. All we've talked about is the offensive line the last 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years. And this year, we haven't talked about them. They're rated for whatever you want to give PFF, but they're like right around the middle of the pack, if not 11 or 12. Yeah. But we see with our eyes.
There it is. I was just going to say, dude, it's the eye test. Go ahead.
Yes.
You nailed it.
We don't need PFF to see what, verify what we're seeing, that the offensive line, while not the best, top 5 in the league, has played pretty damn good. Yeah. So, I mean, that has not been the problem this season. That's what anybody who hasn't seen the last podcast, Jerry was a little concerned about, I don't know, should we bring Dart back, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, Jerry, you know what? It's not like these quarterbacks it's not like they're giving up 8 sacks a game, 12 hits, they're getting murdered, all that stuff. So it's amazing, right? This organization, the offensive line has not been the issue, especially since Andrew's been back, Thomas. But it's been strictly, I should say 90% the defense and what's been going on in fourth quarters and not stopping the run again, and the secondary and injuries and all that stuff. It's amazing, right? It's amazing, because if we had to identify a what on this team that's going to be a major concern, we thought back in August, the first thing out of our mouth would have been offensive line.
And you can make the argument that the offensive line has been the problem for about 13 years, and this is the first year it isn't.
right, basically.
And you know what? You want to get cute. You want to go back to 2011. That offensive line wasn't that great. Last in the league.
They weren't that good either. Yeah,
Eli Manning was playing out of his mind that year.
Yeah, I mean, it was decent, but they weren't like it was a power. It wasn't like a powerhouse offensive line.
You had veterans at the end of their road, pretty much. The McKenzies and the Snees and all those guys. Yeah. So for a long time, this offensive line has not been good. And that's why I said, man, the shame of this is the offensive line has been good. Like, they've been above average, not just average. They've been good. And you said it before, man. That's why I got excited. Like, I don't even care about when I'm watching the offensive line play like this. I don't even care about the PFF grades. If their grades were 27th in the league, I'd be like, whatever. I don't. What were you grading? I don't care.
Yeah, right. I don't know how they do those.
You know what I mean? Like, well, great. Okay, I'm the eye test. We can run the ball, and our quarterbacks aren't running for their lives. Okay, so right there, they're even if they haven't graded in the top 10, top 15, awesome, great. But yeah, man.
Jerry.
Yeah.
Jerry. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I just wanted to say quickly.
Good.
There was two games this year that the Giants offensive line imposed their will on two pretty damn good defenses. The Thursday night game against the Eagles.
Yep.
And last week against the Packers.
Yeah.
There was a couple of drives, especially that 16-play drive. And of course, they didn't score points, but the 16-play drive and the other long drive after that, where they did score points, they were just running the ball. Kafka was like, yeah, okay, I'm going to keep running it,
Yeah.
and they imposed their will on the Packers in the second half of that game.
And then you look at, the offensive line's playing well. I'm like, God, we should be 5-6 or 6-5. And it's just, look, man, the defense has been that bad. And that's the stunning part of this, right? The pass rush, right? We were so excited about one guy. You got one guy rushing the passer, 13 sacks. And then after that, I think it's 2.5, you said, Kayvon Thibodeau?
Yeah.
There's nothing, Abdul Carter, 0.5. And I guess we have to talk about it a little bit. Abdul Carter disciplined last week. Missing practice, whether recovering. Walkthrough.
The
walkthrough. I'm sorry. Yeah. I just wanted to get your take and your thoughts on that, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's been pretty much laid out this week. There was reports out there that he fell asleep in a building. Totally not true. He was in some kind of therapy, red light therapy. I don't know, some kind of therapy for rehab, whatever it was. And now, look, it's a big mistake. They changed the walkthrough schedule. I don't know what happened there, but the final result was that he missed the walkthrough. Mike Kafka sat him in the first series. Abdul said, he learned from the lesson. There's a little bit of a mix-up, but he took all responsibility for it and all that. Unfortunately, the kid had to get slammed for 3 days, and now it's his fault. You take responsibility for things, and he did. And Kafka sat him down the series. Me personally, as a coach, I probably would have sat him down a quarter, but that's Mike's choice. He felt he got the message across. And let's face it, there's been a few things that Brian Dable probably wouldn't even sat him down a series, okay?
That was the surprising part of this. Go ahead.
Right, because, we'll get into Kafka in a little bit.
Yeah.
But the unfortunate thing is that, look, the fan base thought this kid just was like, fell asleep on a couch and blew off the walkthrough because he fell asleep. And that's not what happened. That's not what happened. All right. He didn't fall asleep like some dope on a bench in Bryant Park in Manhattan. He did screw up. He did screw up and he missed the walkthrough time, whatever. And he paid, he had to face the media yesterday. We're all at his locker yesterday. And he really didn't want to get into it too much. He said, on to the next game. I did mess up. I took responsibility. I talked to Brian Burns about it on his side.
Mm-hmm.
And Brian said the same thing. Listen, he messed up. He knows it. We're not going to harp on it. This hasn't been a problem.
Good.
Like Brian told me yesterday, this hasn't been a problem. He comes to work every day. It is what it is now. Let's move on. You know what I mean? So that's where we're at with Abdul Carter. Now, forget about that stuff. What we want to see out of Abdul Carter is what, Jerry? Is production on the field.
Yeah.
Production on the field. I mean, it just hasn't been there as far as what we expected. We've talked about this numerous times. He's gotten some pressure. He's gotten some hits. But the simple fact is he's got 0.5 sack, half a sack.
Yeah.
He hasn't finished at times. And he needs to get better. He needs to get better, a little more of an impact. He needs to win one-on-ones more. Okay. And I watched the 22, man. There's a lot of times he's one-on-one and he's just not winning one-on-ones. So we'll see how that goes the last 6 games, but Carter will be playing. Kafka sent the message. It did go through the building that there's a little bit of a new sheriff in town with Mike Kafka. Mike wanted to let everybody know that everybody's going to be held accountable if you miss meetings, miss this, miss whatever it might be. So I think he got that message across.
I'll just end it on this, right? 2 points I want to make. One, if you were asleep or I was asleep and we were supposed to podcast, I'd imagine you would do everything you could to wake me up, whether it's call my house phone and just tell my wife, hey, can you wake Jerry up? We've got a podcast to do. So when I heard that, I was like, doesn't a teammate wake him up? Like, I would just go up to you and be like, Chris, we have a podcast. Oh, yeah. Okay. Sorry, I fell asleep. Okay, that's one. Two, what I can't stand is it just all that adds to the negative. It's bad enough we're 2-9, and this just adds to the it's in the walls crap. Like, Abdul Carter has to face the media now for however and 3 days worth of negativity on social media because of that reporting. I'll be honest with you. So as a fan, I just look at this like, oh my God, like, can we just add more crap to this pile of just negativity and losing in the walls and all that? So I'll end it with that. There's the 2 points I wanted to make, especially the one about sleeping. I mean, I was just like, all right, well, come on. Somebody.
No, he was not. Yeah, he was not sleeping.
Okay. Yeah.
He was not sleeping.
It's like if my kid was overslept for school, I'd be like, you got to wake up. You got school. Okay. Problem solved.
Yeah.
It's all good. Done.
Yeah. Yeah. So, me personally, if I broke that story, I'm confirming it with two very reliable people telling me, yeah, Biz, he fell asleep. And like you said, Jerry, even when I came out, I said to myself, I didn't hear that sleeping. You know, like that's like sleeping. Like, what do you like? I mean, the dude fell. You know what I mean? Like I'm saying, myself, like you said, you'd be like, you figure somebody be like, yo, get up, whatever it might be. In a training room, a trainer, there's 400 people in locker rooms walking around. So anyway,
yeah, okay.
Now did he screw up? I'm not gonna make excuses for the kid.
Sure.
He did.
Yeah,
he did. He messed up the schedule, whatever it might be, and he sat down a series, and now we move on. Jerry, this is one of those things too, right? If the Giants were 9-2, everybody would have been like, "Oh, that's pretty funny." All right, he's out there. When you're 2-9, everything's magnified.
Yep.
And unfortunately, these things when you're losing, the Giants have been a losing organization for years now, and they got to get this crap out of the. Look, I've been saying it forever.
In the walls.
You guys got to get this crap.
You should copyright "It's in the walls" because that's being used now.
Is it?
I'm telling you, people say it, dude. Well, you've been saying that for
there's
years.
a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff I should copyright, Jerry, that I know people use. But
that's one of them.
Anyway,
if I hear someone say Sundays are Giant days, I'm like, that's it.
Yeah, no, that's it, Jerry. You sue then.
Right.
No, anyway, it is true. If people want to use it and run with stuff, go ahead. God bless you. I just like when I just like when they put it on social media like it's theirs. That's what I love. But anyway, especially reporting with the Giants when it's theirs. Yeah, okay. So I love, but hey, it's true, Jerry. It is in the walls, and they're gonna get that shit out of the walls. And you got to get a culture change. And I can tell you this.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and I've been saying this, folks. 1925 Giants drive about getting the shit out of the walls. You can't just sit around the status quo and people watch this podcast. Okay, everybody in that building watches this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I've been trying to tell you, but they also know I have good intentions at heart when I say shit like this. Okay.
Yes. Yep.
Got to get out of the walls. So, but we got a guy here, an interim coach, that's trying to get it out of the walls, dude. Mm-hmm. He's trying to change some culture around. He's doing some things that are different. That's Mike Kafka. Okay. So, and like I said, all you see on social media and radio, talk radio, and all this stuff about who's going to be the next Giants coach? Who's going to be the next Giants coach? Well, I'll tell you what, my man. If Mike Kafka shows he's able to do this and handle this and change some things around and run a functional unit where the players love what he's doing, and look, you saw what is going to be Mike Kafka's identity? What does he want? Okay, well, he wants aggressiveness. He wants to be known as an aggressive football team. Andy Reid.
Right.
So, Chris, what do you mean? Is that how's he doing that? Well, folks, just watch the last game. Mm-hmm. He went for it on fourth down numerous times. And
consistently, by the way.
Consistently. We talked about that. Where Dable was on and off with it.
Yep.
Well, Mike Kafka is saying, well, I'm going to be aggressive. By the way, Jerry, that fourth down that Jameis Winston got sacked, we kind of like danced a little bit in that pocket. I thought a little too early. Mm-hmm. Theo Johnson was wide open in the end zone. I saw it on the 22. Theo collided with the defensive back. I forget who it was. And the defensive back goes down. Theo goes like this. He raises his hand like this. But Jameis at the time was already started. He started feeling the pressure, and because most times James will stand in that pocket and wing it. You know what I mean?
Right.
That time he just kind of like felt the pressure. And unfortunately, if he could have just stayed in there, Jerry, 1 second more or a second and a half more, just stuck in there. And if he would, Theo was wide open.
Right.
Wide open. Anyway, forget about that last game.
Mm-hmm.
But the point I'm making, Mike Kafka, and you say, all right, Chris, you went 4 to 4 down. But I like the way he got together with Shane Bowen and said, hey, yo, my man.
Yeah.
We're going to be aggressive in this game. I want more man.
Right.
Played all man. Matter of fact, the Giants are the number 1 team in the league in playing man.
Hmm.
Okay. Now, is that a smart all the time? Probably not. But Mike is setting the tone in the building. The identity he wants is aggressive, 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 aggressive. I'm going to coach it like that. I want my coordinators coaching it like that. That's only 1 game, Jerry. Don't forget, you got to give this guy time, No.
There's winnable games down the stretch, Chris.
Jerry, very. And look, this is not a win-loss thing. Well, Chris, what do you think? Kafka's got to win 5 games. No, he's got to win. Like, you got to show the progress, win a few games. And like you said, Jerry, Washington at home, Minnesota at home. The Cowboys could be done by that time at home. These are all games.
Raiders.
How about the Vegas on the road? Right. Thank you, Jerry. Yeah, I forgot about that too. How about Vegas on the road? Another game.
Which will be a home game because everyone goes to Vegas, so that'll feel like a home game.
So, right. So Mike Kafka's gonna have a chance, an opportunity to show this organization that I am your guy, and he's showing that in the building. He's more of a calming influence, Mike, on the sideline. He's more of a calming influence with his coaches because Dable could be. I'm not Monday morning. I've said this before. Dable could be very rough on his assistant coaches. I've said this before.
Yeah.
Way more. Dable's way more rough. He was way more rough on his coaches than he was on the players, unfortunately. Okay. So now Mike comes along, very more calming influence. Okay. He's very calm on the sideline. But at the same time, don't let Kafka, who's a very good dude, Jerry, been around Mike for years now. Since he's obviously, and he's a gentleman, absolute gentleman. I've talked to Mike on this, absolute gentleman. Okay. Yep. But he's got a fiery streak. Don't think he's just like, let's play. Hey, let's put the play. Oh, no. Mike's a football coach.
Right.
Okay. Mike's a football coach. So he's going to have that opportunity. So the eyes are watching him. Everybody's watching what Mike's doing because just don't automatically assume Mike Kafka won't have a shot at this job. I'm not saying he is going. I'm just saying don't assume that it's going to be the other guys coming in and they don't want Kafka as a head coach.
Yeah, I know that everyone's putting out their lists, and there is some element
rightfully
of
so because it's a head coach opening.
But there is an element there that I think we're getting a little ahead. I think Kafka does have a shot as well. What I like what you said before the Andy Reid thing. I was going to say the difference there is Reid can't seem to stick to the run the way Kafka did in that game. Reid would all of a sudden, now he's got Patrick Mahomes, so okay, I get it. But Kafka stuck to the run, and that's the one thing I liked last week, that he didn't get cute. It was, we're running, we're going to keep running until you stop us. And that's the identity of that game. They should have won. They could have won that game. But that's a difference that I actually like. I like the comparison to Reid, comes from Reid's tree, but his ability to stick to the run, I thought was worth noting, at least.
Yeah, and now before people say, hey, Biz, he was calling the plays the whole year. Yeah, but when you got to remember something. When Dable had a heavy influence on the game plan,
not with
and
someone
what he wanted,
and
what he wanted in his series, what he wanted this and that. Mike's running a whole show now. There's no more Dable saying, all right, in this situation, I want this, this. 34, I want this, I want that. Everybody, I hope I understand what I'm saying because that's the facts. Okay.
You don't have someone over looking over your shoulder the whole time. You just, no, this is yours now.
So, Jerry, I just want to clarify. I'm not here lobbying for Mike Kafka to be the head coach. I'm just telling you, like I always do, the effing facts.
Right.
Effing facts. Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll see. And I'm not saying, come January, hey, we're going to get, Chris Schuler's and the Mike McCarthy's and, what else? Young guys in there, all that stuff.
Speak Tomlin into existence, Chris.
We're going to interview it and all that stuff. So, well, look, Jerry, if Pittsburgh moves on from Tomlin, that's a different story. So, and I got to tell you something else, dude. I know Mike was asked this week about the coaching situation, any coaches. And look, when everybody says, like I did last week when I asked him, like he was asked Wednesday, any thoughts about and he was like, no, status quo. We're going to aggress. Other words, everybody like me was asking about Shane Bowen,
not the wide receivers coach, right.
And it's not my, I know it's a lot of people like Chris. Just ask him about ball. That's not the way it's done. You got to do respect. We're with these guys every 3 days a week since the middle of July. You just don't go in. Hey, Mike, you're going to fire Bowen or what? We're not on the street corner. Okay, I know it's a lot of people, like to do that. Like, what's your sex? You're going to fire Bowen. That's not the way it's done. So.
Yeah.
Okay. In other words, you got to be kind of respectful about it. And look, when I asked the question last week, Wednesday, I forgot who asked about the coaches. Mike knows who we're talking about. We don't have to say it. But I'll tell you this, Jerry. I'll tell you this. If the Giants give up 570 yards, 550 yards Sunday, and they give up 45 points, and the defense is not even a factor in this game. And look, I expect Detroit to come in and blow their doors off. Because they're going to be pissed off. They always respond to losses.
We didn't get to that part of the podcast yet, Chris. But
but so just a little preview of what I think about the Lions game coming up.
Yeah, right.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
If Mike, because I'll tell you why. If anybody doesn't know, I reported it yesterday. But his the former Northwestern coach Pat Fitzgerald has been in the building the last few days. That's a very close friend of Mike Kafka. Fitzgerald was the linebacker coach when Mike played at Northwestern.
Was he that linebacker in the 80s and 90s too? Did he play linebacker?
Fitzgerald? He was a linebacker. Yes, he was a linebacker.
I remember, dude. He was a stud.
He's a big boy. So I'm not saying he's lining them up. All I'm saying is, I think Mike wants to make his stamp here. And I could tell you this.
Yeah.
When Mike was named the interim coach, nobody in the front office, Mara, anybody else said, all right, look, we're going to name interim coach, but you're not doing this. You're not doing this with the coach. You're not doing this. No, they said, Mike, do what you got to do.
Right.
Run the team. Run the team. Okay?
Yeah.
So Mike's been running the team. He's plotting to put his stamp. So the point I'm making is, if the Giants embarrass themselves Sunday, or God forbid, Jerry, it's actually somewhat of a game in the fourth quarter, and the Lions score 21 straight points, and now it's 42-21. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be a game. We'll get to that later. But say it's somewhat of a doable game in the fourth quarter. And once again, the defense gives up 150 yards fourth quarter. Goff, big plays. They lose. I wouldn't shock me to see Mike Kafka move on from Shane Bowen this week. It wouldn't shock me to see that.
Right.
Because I think Mike wants to put his stamp on everything. He's been given Mike, you do what you have to do in the last 7 weeks. As a head coach. I know you have the interim label on you, but you do what you have to do. And I think Mike will do that if he feels the defense is not doing what, the way they respond in the way he wants them to respond. What say you, Foley? I'm sorry. I went on a long rant.
No. I was going to ask you if he did make that kind of a change, it would just be someone on the staff that he would promote for the rest of the season, no?
I would imagine, yes.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
And I don't want you to speculate there. I'm curious to see which one he would pick, who he would give that chance to, and then what their philosophy would be. I still think like that change could happen around the bye week. I talk about week. It's Kafka has the rest of the season. Shane Bowen, I think, has week to week here. I really do. Even if they performed well Sunday, it's all right. Well, let's see the Patriot game now, because he's giving you a lot to look at so far. That's just, subpar. And again, guys, players have to make plays as well, but a lot of strange things coming out of Shane Bowen's defense. So,
I just Jerry, like you said, was a good point. Naturally, you look at bye week for these things, right? But I just get the feeling that Bowen, that if something is really bad Sunday with the defense, I think Kafka will you know what? I'm not waiting to the bye week. I'm putting this is what I want here. I'm the coach here for the last month, and this is what I want. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So we'll see. Look,
cool.
Jerry.
Yeah.
I think Mike saw what happened with Abdul Carter. And I think Mike was like, I'm the sheriff now. And maybe some stuff, maybe this could have flew with Dable. Maybe Mike looked at maybe Brian Dable's, some things that he didn't like what Dable did. Of course, you can't say nothing. You're not the coach.
Right.
And maybe the first thing that pops up is this Abdul Carter thing. And Mike Kafka was like, well, guess what? I'm the coach now. You're going to sit a series.
Right.
If a guy's not playing well, misses an assignment on the field, or he's half dogging it on a play, maybe. Well, Mike Kafka's going to say, you know what, Shane, get him out. Get him out.
Right.
Get Corey Black in there. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So, excuse me. I think Mike is trying to put his stamp identity on his team.
And you want him
We'll see
to.
how it goes Tuesday.
You want him to.
Right.
You want, and you know, this is his trial, not just for the Giants, but for other teams as well. And you said Seattle almost hired him a couple years ago. So that's good for him, man.
And let's not forget, Jerry, every year there's 6 or 7 openings, 5, 6, 7 openings.
Yeah.
And he's auditioning for the openings that are going to be coming up in January too. Right? If the Giants decide they want a fresh face, and we don't know about mine. Well, he's also auditioning for other teams. Everybody's watching to see what he does with this team. And Jerry, look, I know they lost defense. Jordan Love, 3rd and 10, all the time in the world from the vaunted front four. Throws a ball up, completes it. They go on to score. They lose again. Defense, blah, blah, blah. But I thought Mike did a lot of positive things as the way he approached it Sunday afternoon. The aggressiveness, like I said, sitting some guys down during the game. He didn't like what was going on.
Yeah.
Okay. I like, now, I'm not going to get into it again. We got into it Sunday night about the flags, the challenge, all that stuff. I'm not going to get into that again. But I kind of like what he's doing. And I'm not lobbying for him again. I'm just telling you what's going on. That's it.
Want to talk about Isaiah Hodgins? Good story. Feel good story there.
There's a prime example. So Isaiah Hodgins gets signed last week. He winds up leading the team with 5 tackles with Kafka.
Receptions, yeah.
Right? Oh, I'm sorry. My mistake. 5 receptions.
Yeah.
Kafka gets him up to speed.
Yep.
Credit to Isaiah Hodgins, too. Obviously, he's pretty familiar. He comes in and he plays pretty decent and all that. So credit to Isaiah Hodgins, not just coming in and saying, okay, all right, I'm here this week. No, he wanted to come in. He plays significant snaps. Of course, that's not a very good look for Joe Shane and the roster that we need a guy off the practice squad of Pittsburgh to come in and be the leading receiver too.
Who was here already too.
Right. So
come on, guys.
Right. So, I mean, that's something that ownership is going to have to determine, Jerry, at the end of the season. When they look at the roster and say, is Joe Shane our guy? And, the pros and cons of what they want to do with Joe. Yeah, if they feel they want to move on with him. So, like I said, it's not guaranteed Joe Shane is coming back. It's not.
Chris, I'll say it one more time. I'm not going to say it again because, maybe you're tired of hearing about it or other people are tired of hearing this. I really think Joe Shane's staying is going to have a lot to do with Mike Kafka's success down the stretch. Like, they're not together, but I also think, like, if Kafka does well, Shane has such a better chance of staying. If Kafka goes 1 win and they're blown out of games, it's over.
Oh, he's gonna be gone. Yeah, it's over.
Right.
Yeah.
So there is a scenario where Shane could stay and Kafka goes, but there's obviously no scenario where Kafka's going to stay and Shane goes. So if I'm Joe Shane, it's like, Mike, what do you need this week? I mean, they need to play well because it's such an indictment on the roster. So last time I'll say it. I said it last week. I said it this week, but it's so tied to for him to, be really part of that next coaching search, I think. So.
Yeah. We'll see at the end of the season, man. So both guys, in my opinion, are auditioning. I mean, Mike, and I think, and Joe Shane too. Let's see how this shapes up because his position is not locked in, so we'll see.
Yep. All right. You want to get to Detroit?
Sure. Whatever you want. Yeah.
So Detroit, very talented football team coming off of a loss, obviously, of course, because they're playing us next, playing us at home. Look, they're a lot of weapons on offense, right? A familiar face in Khalif Raymond as well. But, I watched him against the Eagles and look, the end of that game was ridiculous, right? But, Jared Goff is interesting, man. He's a good quarterback, but I don't know if they'll ever win with him. That being said, this is a very talented offense, and I think that spread of 10.5 will be covered by the Detroit Lions. We can go more into the game itself, Chris, but what concerns you the most? The weapons on offense, the offensive line, defense, not as much, right? But it's more that offense that, especially in Detroit, Like I just think it's going to be like a track meet to the end zone. This
Yeah.
week.
Yeah, I kind of get that feeling too. I mean, I just think Gibbs is going to go wild in this game. I predicted the other day, yesterday, I said somebody to build it. I said, I think Gibbs is going to have 100 yards by halftime.
Yeah.
In this one, I just get that feeling. They were both shut down last week. The Eagles did an incredible job last week. And I just think Gibbs goes wild. I think St. Brown, who was shut down, basically shut last week. I think he goes wild. Goff was 17 of 37. That's totally un-Goff like, man.
Right.
What the Eagles did last week was incredible. It really was to that offense. And I look at it as a get right. Goff, 68, 70% this week. Couple of touchdowns. St. Brown. Jameson Williams is the best man coverage receiver in the league. Number one percentage-wise, and if Bowen plays a lot of man, which he's been doing, coming off a game he played like basically all man, it could be ugly, and on the other side of the ball, I'm worried too. Detroit's a top defense. They're fifth in the league, coming in fifth in the league. Got Hutchins really going wild. They got guys coming back. They blitz 24% of the time. Let's see how many sacks, 31 sacks. And it's starting to get a little bit healthy in the back end now. And I expect them to be look, Dan Campbell's going to have these guys an angry bunch of dudes, man.
Oh yeah.
Because they lost 2 of the last 3.
Mm-hmm.
They're now 6-4.
Crazy.
It's crazy that this team, who most people, including myself, picked to win the division. I actually had them going to the Super Bowl, beating the Eagles in the championship game. I got to look at my predictions again, but I had them actually playing Buffalo, I think, in the Super Bowl, if I remember my preseason prediction. But and you look at this squad right now, and at the playoffs side, I think they're 17 or don't even make the playoffs. I'm not even sure. I got to look again. But it's scary, right? So they got to get right. And here come the Giants to get everything right. So, and you look at it and go, man, where could the Giants, I don't know. So if the Giants could establish the run, I guess, keep those guys on the sideline, because I expect the Lions offense to come out flying. I really do.
Yeah, absolutely flying. I think that's the best approach, man. Just you got to play ball control and then kind of hope for the best and not turn the ball over, because like you said, man, Campbell's going to have them ready, biting shins or whatever the hell he does over there. But, interesting. Campbell's one of those guys that did, talk about coordinators. He is someone that proved to work out. And especially after a year where it looked like he was going to get run out of town, Detroit loves him. I know you said it before, but man, watching that game against the Eagles, 4th down to him is like 1st down. Yep, we're going. I'm like, oh my God.
Well,
at least he's consistent.
I know, but it's also stupidity too.
It's crazy. Yeah.
I mean, this is a guy now. They've won the last few years, but this is the guy that cost him a chance to go to the Super Bowl a couple years ago with stupid 4th down decisions.
Yeah.
And I thought against the Eagles, fake punts, 4th downs. Guy, that's a field position game. That's a defensive game. What are you doing?
He's playing Madden football with that, dude. That's Madden right there.
Right. I mean, I get it. This is me. I'm going to be me, but it also has to be smart. Yeah. Right? You can't just, it's 4th down. I'm going to go if I don't give a shit. Oh, you cost your team games, bro.
Yeah.
And it makes you wonder. It makes you wonder if the Lions go to the playoffs, right? And this guy cost him another playoff game because it was 4th down. I got to go for it every 4th down aggressiveness. And if anybody's going to be up in there, in Ford over there, the Fords are going to say, you know what, this guy's taking us the farthest he can take us. The first he can take us. Maybe we should move on because we can't keep having this stupid decision. Well, it'll be interesting to see what happens with him. But that's who he is. He's going to go for it. That's great, Jerry. But you also have to be smart. He literally cost him a chance to go to the Super Bowl 2 years ago when he played the 49ers in that championship game. It was Dan Campbell's fault why they lost that game. Because of his stupid 4th down decisions.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then against the Eagles, and I had the fake punt. You're not fooling the Eagles, fake punts and all that. The Eagles are well coached, especially on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
They knew that play. They were totally prepared for that fake punt the other night. On defense, Fangio was prepared for everything they were doing. Yeah. And then the 4th down nonsense, and all that stuff. So,
I couldn't believe it, man. I was like, wow, okay, go for it again.
Yeah. Right. And it's the second game in a row. Sirianni got away with very questionable 4th down decisions himself, but got away with it twice. Right. So that's what the Eagles do. They're in that mode where, they do stupid shit, but they still win games.
Well, it's funny. I was talking to talking to an Eagle fan. I said, "Do you like Sirianni?" He goes, "I like Vic Fangio." That's what that was the response. So,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
Sirianni's not exactly a scientist.
Right.
So,
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, but I expect the Lions to get back on track this week.
Yep.
I think they're going to score a lot of points.
So
Hey,
the
man.
FanDuel again, guys. The FanDuel spread is 10.5. What is your prediction, Mr. Biz?
I was just going to say, man, if the Giants are in this game in the fourth quarter, holy crap, Jerry, I'm going to be surprised. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to be surprised.
Yeah.
I really am. So, but I do predict the Lions Cup. What did you say, Jerry? 10.5?
10.5.
Yeah, I do predict the Lions. I think it's going to be a 38-17 type game.
I was close. I was close in my head. I had 45-17.
Yeah, I think it's going to be around that. I just don't think they're going to stop Gibbs.
Yeah.
I don't think the secondary is going to stop St. Brown, Jameson Williams. I just don't see it. I think Goff responds, and I think the defense is going to be, overwhelmed in that back end at times. And against the Giants are what, 30? What are the Giants? 32nd against the run, Jerry? Hold on a second.
Yeah, 31st or 32nd.
The 30th against the run, 149 a game.
Oh, great.
And the Lions are 7th in rushing. They average 124 a game. So,
and you got to think Detroit's going to be ready for the Giants to try and establish the run because, passing wise, it's the Isaiah Hodgins, Theo Johnson show, right? So come on. So they're going to be ready for
it. Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens with Slave. He could go. Jaxson Dart and his legs are back now. It will be interesting, very interesting to see how many design runs Kafka has for Jaxson Dart. I don't expect many. I'm not saying scrambles where Jackson takes off.
Yeah, no, different, right?
But I don't think there's going to be a lot of design runs. You might see one or two, but way less than when Dable was in the last game. I know Kafka's going to plays, but like I said, Dable heavy influence. Now it's Mike's show, and coming off the concussion, I don't expect to see many design runs. I don't expect. We'll see what Kafka does.
I would think you'd see it inside in the red zone. That would probably be it, and there'd be maybe one or two. Right. That's it.
That's the way I would do it, Jerry. In that low red or the low red area.
Yeah.
Let Jackson, you know what I mean, get to do his thing there in a zone read, or RPO, whatever it might be.
Yep.
But I don't expect 50-yard line design runs with Jaxson Dart this week.
No,
no,
let's not do that.
And look, and if it is called, Jerry, even if it's in a low red, Jaxson Dart has to start being responsible and not take big hits.
Yep. Yeah.
That's the bottom line. I don't know what to tell you.
Jackson, you're the future of this franchise, man. Come on. You can't do this. You got to be and for your own well-being. You don't want to be the guy that's in concussion protocol all the time because you're going to have a 2 to 3 year career. That's what I'm worried most about. You don't want these concussions to keep happening. You got to be careful now.
Yeah, I mean, Jerry, you look at CJ Stroud.
Right.
I mean, he's had concussion history. Well, guess what? He's not playing tonight, missing his 3rd straight game due to a concussion, man.
Right.
You get a couple more. Look at Tua's probably one bad concussion away from maybe his career being finished.
Right.
CJ Stroud, you see this tonight and you say, man, it's another, maybe because of the short week. I don't know, but I'm just saying he's still missing his 3rd game with a concussion. He had a bad one a couple years ago. The Jets slammed his head on the ground.
Yep.
I mean, he came back a couple weeks later, but dude, when you start piling up concussions, what happens is, Jay, when you get one, you miss 4 games instead of the one that Jackson's going to miss this time.
Yeah, right.
That's all we're saying. Hopefully Jackson realizes, hey, I can't keep taking, there's a way to take a hit, get down when I could get down, and all that stuff. So we'll see. Look, Dable caught a lot of heat for structured runs. I don't know if Kafka's going to do the same thing, but that will be one interesting part of this game to see how Mike approaches it with Jaxson Dart and the run game.
I don't think FanDuel has an over-under on that, but I would say it'd be 2.5 designed runs. 2.5 would be the number.
I guess you could find something on everything to bet today, right, Jerry? So maybe. I don't know if it's on there or not. I have to take a look at that. But.
Anyway. All right, dude. Anything else?
No, that's it.
All right, cool.
Back Sunday.
Yep.
What's your final score, Jerry? 45-17?
45-17. Yeah.
Track meet inside on the fast turf and all that stuff.
Yeah, like maybe like 31 by halftime. Like just ugly.
Look, Jerry, I'm not going to argue that, bro. I could see it too in a way. Hopefully not. We'll see what happens. If Mike goes in there, Kafka, and the Giants stun the world, sort of like Minnesota did 2 weeks ago in Detroit, when they stunned everybody by beating them with J.J. McCarthy. If the Giants could stun the world, the NFL world, and get out of Detroit with a win, well, I think you could take the interim label away.
Right.
No,
I know what you mean.
No,
but Chris, you know how it is around here. They will for a week. Absolutely. That's our guy. No matter what happens now.
I mean, if the Giants stun the Lions and leave Detroit, Michigan Sunday night with a win, I think a lot of people are going to be like, yeah, we got our guy. So, we'll see how it goes. So enjoy the game. Look, it's 2-7, right?
2-9.
2-9. Oh my God. Weeks are flying by. 2-9. And we got something. We got something at the interest, right? It piques everybody's interest, and that's Jaxson Dart. Yeah. We'll see how it works out Sunday.
Good stuff. Well said. We'll see you guys Sunday, post game. Sundays are Giant days, guys. Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.